Hey there, I'm Ginny.
And I'm Monica.
And this is Hitting Her Mark,
Podcast for women in the arts, actors, filmmakers, artists who are passionately chasing their creative dreams.
while juggling the beautiful chaos of caring for the ones you love.
We're here to share stories, insights, and inspiration, proving that you can hit your mark without compromising what matters most.
So if you're ready to make your creative dreams a reality, let's dive in.
Born in Mumbai, India, and raised in Nigeria until the age of 7, Nazneen Contractor was well-versed in world travels and a variety of cultures at a very young age. She attended boarding school in London, and then her family moved to Toronto, Canada, where she spent the majority of her childhood and young adulthood. In Toronto, Contractor excelled in academics and trained as a classical ballerina. She attended the Etobicoke School of the Arts, where she not only danced but studied theater as well. Upon graduating from high school, she accepted a full scholarship to the University of Toronto. After 1 year at university, Contractor joined Stratford Shakespeare Festival and landed the lead role in Pericles. She received rave reviews for her work in the 92 shows performed, and the play was voted the #1 production of the year by Canadian critics in 2002. By the third season with the company, Contractor wanted to pursue film and television. She booked The Border, a Canadian drama for CBC. She starred as Leila Hourani for 26 episodes, and the series aired worldwide. In 2009, Contractor booked the role of Kayla Hassan in 21 episodes of the hit Fox series 24. While in production on 24, Contractor also booked a recurring role on CBS's Rules of Engagement opposite David Spade and Adhir Kalyan. Other television credits for Contractor include Lone Star and Last Resort. Most recently, Children Ruin Everything. You may also know Contractor, who plays a devoted wife and mother facing extreme challenges in her family in the highly anticipated Paramount feature film, Star Trek Into Darkness. Welcome, Nazneen Contractor, to the podcast. I had the great pleasure of meeting Nazneen on set in a Hallmark movie we were both in called The Love Club. Nazneen has a very welcoming energy on set, and we were talking about our kids probably within the first 10 minutes of chatting with each other. Nazneen is an actor with an impressive resume, having most recently performed as Dawn on Children Ruin Everything, which is currently on Netflix, as Justine Turner on soap opera General Hospital, and Zara on Ransom, which aired on Global Television and is now also available on Netflix. With over 69 film and TV credits under her belt, Nazneen has also performed on stage at Stratford for 3 seasons. Yes. And she's voiced a number of animated series as well. She lives in LA with her husband, also an actor, and her 2 kids. So let's just dive in. Nazneen, we like to kick off every episode sort of just starting from the beginning of your journey. So where did your artistic path begin for you?
Hi, first of all. Thank you so much for having me on, Jane and Monica.
Hi.
I guess I knew from a very young age that I wanted to be an actor. I didn't really know how, but I always said, I'm going to grow up, I'm going to be an actor. And I actually started in dance. I was a really dedicated ballet dancer. I did modern and ballroom as well, but I was dancing like 10 times a week. I went to a school in Toronto called the Etobicoke School of the Arts. My first year, I was a dance major there. I was dancing 5 times a week in there, 5 times a week privately. And it's when I got to that school that I realized I really wanted to be a drama major. And so I auditioned to switch majors, which doesn't always happen at that school once you've started. But I got in. We sort of like begged the drama teacher to get me in, Alan Stratton, a wonderful novelist and teacher. And that was probably when I got a real taste for what it actually means to be an actor, because it was such a amazing, rigorous program. And I think it's changed since then. But if I could find a school like this for like my son, who's very much into performing arts, I would totally send him there, where, you do your major every day and then you do all your academics on top of that. At that time, if your academics dropped to a certain extent, they would kick you out. So you really had to learn how to balance everything. But they taught us so much. They taught us, academia in drama. We read phenomenal plays. We studied the Stanislavski method. I mean, we, in our last year, because, I'm dating myself, I had to do OAC, the Ontario Additional Credit, if you decided to take,
We're good.
We're all in the OAC club. So, but in your last year, if you decided to continue with your major, which a lot of people didn't because, they wanted to focus on doing something else with their life, you had to be a part of 3 original productions every year. So you could like write, you could direct, you could act, and you put them on in a space. On top of that, you're doing, the main stage show every year that you audition to get into. It was extremely knowledgeable, highly competitive, and I just learned a lot, and I was with a lot of like-minded, talented people. So I think that it really made me, first of all, and a lot of them had agents. And I was like, this is like the youthful,
Oh, wow.
the youthful, conceited Nazneen. But I really think that when you're young, being brash helps you. But like, I looked at the people who had agents and who were booking stuff, and I'm like, I'm so much better than you. Like, I should get an agent. I could clean up. If you're actually booking stuff, what's stopping me? So I made like a fake resume. I got my friend who was a photography major to take pictures of me, and I emailed my resume and headshot to every agent in Ontario. There was a book back then. Every single one of them. I made letters and I emailed them. Yes. I called every single one of them, and all of them said no. And then one guy, and I wish I remembered his name, said, there's a new agent at Glickman Talent, and she's looking for new people, new young people. Why don't you send it to her? So I sent it to her. We had an interview. She immediately signed me. And I'd say within 6 months, I started working. Like pretty fast. Wow. I started booking like guest stars. She would send me out for everything. She was really good about that. But I started I think I booked my first guest star when I was 15 I was old enough that I had to have a guardian still on set. Young enough that I had to have a guardian. Amazing. I think you're 15 then, right? Or something like that. I can't remember the rules.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, under 16, I think.
Yeah, so I think I was turning 16 and I was 15 at the time. And my father wasn't well, so my mom was staying with him. And so they hired a guardian for me on set. And it filmed in New Brunswick, in Moncton, New Brunswick. It was this sci-fi show called Star Hunter. Wow. And then, since then, it kind of I sort of amassed a guest star here, a guest star there. I recorded on a show called Street Time. And then with Stratford, I feel like that was a big shift. It was an open call. It was an open call audition that my agent got me in for because they were doing Pericles and the King and I, and they wanted ethnic people. And so I auditioned basically on the strength of me also being a dancer, even though when I went to the dance audition, everyone was so much better than me. I'm like, yeah, I can't do this. I'll just do the acting thing. I was like, I gotta try.
You're like, I switched to drama. I switched to drama.
Yeah, I can still do the splits. No, but these are our professional competitive dances. But I went to the open call, and I remember it was the summer, and I was working at a restaurant in Yorkville, and I couldn't remember this. It was do one dramatic, one funny Shakespearean monologue and one contemporary or something like that. And I couldn't remember the second monologue. I couldn't memorize it. I just couldn't learn it in time with the audience. So I went in there all brash and I'm like, well, I've only prepared one because I'm working and I'm a full-time student and this and that. So I have one for you. And they were like, okay. And so I did it. And then I just did it. And I was like, this is me and this is who I am and this is what I prepared and this is why. And I'm like, and if you call me back, I'll learn the second one. Right? I don't know where I had those. I really don't. Today, I would have been like, I need this. I'm not prepared.
I want that energy now. Give me that energy now.
To be that person now. Yeah, I honestly, I really look back on my life and I'm like, when have I let fear and doubt rule me? Because I never used to let it rule me. I used to think that I was this unstoppable force, that nothing was going to stand in my way. And so I got a call back the next day. It was just me and the director of that. And it was a 2-hour callback. Because I didn't know he really wanted me to play the lead. He told me at the end, he really wanted me to play the lead in Pericles. So he basically worked the classical with me, see how I took direction. Then I had I think the comedy was from Midsummer Night's Dream, which I ended up doing with him the next season. But, I had the text in front of me and he was just guiding me through the text. And then he was like, okay, you have to show me that you can dance a little bit. And I'm like, this is really weird. And he was like, just do anything, 10 counts of anything. And I was like, okay. And he was like, oh yeah, that's enough. Okay. And then I did the dance audition. I said I didn't want to do it. After that, and then months later, this offer came in and they're like, yeah, we want you to play the lead in Pericles, which is this lesser known play, on the main stage. And by the way, you're the first East Indian woman to ever play a lead on the main stage in the history of the festival. So no pressure.
Wow.
Yeah. But how were your parents about you being this 16-year-old that's just taken
Yeah.
off.
So they were always really, I was really lucky. I'm a first generation immigrant. I immigrated to Canada when I was almost 8 years old. I was born in India. I have very traditional parents. There's no doubt about that, who really value education. And, I always did really like, I was definitely a handful as a teenager because I did whatever the hell I want. But like, I used to justify it because I had straight A's. And, I was just one of them. I was like, well, what can you tell me? I have a job. I'm paying for everything. I'm doing what I want. Like, I was kind of that, which drove them insane. They were proud. And then when I got Stratford and I had to leave school because I was in university at the time, I just finished my first year of university and I had to leave. Like there was no way of doing both. They made me promise that I would finish the degree. So I basically like did as much as I could, finished my second year early, went to Stratford in March, ended up staying there for actually 2 seasons, but I did the conservatory in between, got offered a third season, and then booked a pilot in LA that directly conflicted with the third season, turned it down, went to LA, did this pilot. It was a 6 episode commitment. We got canceled after 3, flew back with like no job, went right back to school, went right back to the restaurant I was working in. And then I probably did like a year of school, really work as an actor. I think that it was a weird time in my life because everything had come so easily and so fast that wasn't even sure that this is what I exactly wanted to do because it was happening really quickly. And it took that dry period of a year to be like, no, this is what I want to do. And like all my friends had already graduated. So I was going to university like basically alone, which was kind of amazing because I really enjoyed my classes. And I'd be auditioning and I was working at a restaurant. But it kind of made me realize like, oh my God, no, I actually want to do this. And then I had to like kind of make that transition back to TV after 2.5 years of, Stratford training, which was really amazing, but very different. And then I booked the border and I literally did by school while I was at the border. Like they picked me up for my first day of filming from university because I like did class in the morning and Princess Net in the afternoon. And I would do, and I kind of tried to like piecemeal my education while I was filming in Toronto. So I do as many courses as I could. I do summer courses and I actually just finished my degree while we were doing Love Club. I finished it.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
That is incredible. So you held your promise to your parents.
Yeah, you
I did.
You did
and,
it.
to myself.
Yes, absolutely. And The Border, was that your first series regular role?
I mean, technically, yes. Like the pilot that I did,
Yeah.
which was by the guy who writes for Sacha Baron Cohen. He created Ali G.
Oh,
Thing that's like an improvised. It was, I wish it saw the light of day. It was basically about this East Indian family traveling through the Bible Belt of America. And we would meet real people and tell them that they were going to be part of a documentary on culturalization and do what Sasha does. So we're all actors, but no one knew we were actors. And I was the daughter. And like they cut one episode and like, it was very difficult job because, you're in character like 9 hours a day. And sometimes I would feel like, really bad about what I was doing. I would, because I'm like, I'm tricking people, essentially, right?
Right.
And they would make me do
But to get them to really say, like, stuff that did not put them in a very good light, probably.
Well, we were always the joke for sure, but their belief in it was, playing on their ignorance of what it means to be Indian. Anyway, so that was my first series regular, but The Border was like the one that I did, I did too long. Like that was like real practice in front of the camera.
Yeah. Right. And how was that transition? Well, you've had practice in front of but how was that transition of taking on that kind of responsibility? Like, what did you take away from that experience in The Border in terms of holding a series regular, the responsibility within that?
Yeah. So I think that was a really, looking back on it, it was actually a very, very positive experience for my growth. At the time, it was challenging. So basically, in season 1, I was told by writers and showrunners like, "Oh, don't smile. You're too pretty when you smile, and don't do this." They were like telling me all these things to do that were very much against my nature as just a human being. And so I really felt like I was restricting myself in order to fulfill an idea of what someone else thinks I should be. And I looked at my work in season 1 and I was really unhappy with it. I was like, I suck. I'm not compelling. I'm not interesting. Everyone else is doing such good stuff. And so I went to the late and great David Rotenberg, and I was like, I know that I've never taken your classes before, and I know you have to like work through the system, but like I'm a series regular. I have another season. I don't like what the fuck I'm doing. I don't know how to fix it. And I had met my husband Carlo at that time. He was my boyfriend then. And he also was like, go to David. And he was like, don't listen to what they're telling you. And I'm like, yeah, but they're the showrunners. They know that. He's like, no, they don't. No one knows you the way you know you. He's like, you do it your way and they will start writing for you. They will see how good it is and they will capitalize upon this. I'm not saying I would walk and be like, freeze. Like I wasn't, doing like, like, but I allowed myself to be more relaxed and grounded in that role and not trying to be something else. Right. I allowed myself to bring my own strengths to the role, which is really what acting is about. For me, it's like you look at a character, you go, okay, what do I have in common with this character? Whether it's all of me or 10% of me, now I'm going to make it all of me for this role. But I'm going to take what I have to give to it, right?
Yeah.
And so
it's revealing parts of yourself.
Exactly. But the point is they come from me, right? And I learned that at Stratford really well, but I didn't, it was like a whole different application to when I was on the border. And then later I booked 24. I book the biggest show on like, all right. And literally like I book and I book it and I book what was supposed to be 2 episodes that turned into 21 episodes because they love me. And then I went to the Geminis next year and I presented and they're like, and the star of 24. And I was like, yay! Like it was such a great, and those stories don't always happen, right? They don't always happen.
Yeah.
But I feel like, if you put it out there, at the end, the universe will take care of you, right? If you're kind to people, if you're good to people, if you work hard, like that's gonna come back to you. It's gonna help you.
Yeah.
Yes, I love that.
And it's your resilience, right?
Yeah, but I don't have a choice. I don't have any other skills.
I'm sure you've got lots. I did have a question about, and this kind of segues into it, the difference between, because you have so much experience working on Canadian sets and US sets.
Yeah.
Is there a difference? Have you noticed working with the crew and everything? Tell us.
The crew is universally great on both sides. That's no question about it. The crew is like I don't know, they're like their own race of people or something like that. Like if you are a part of a crew, like I feel like I love my crews that I work with. I appreciate them. I love performing for them. I love interacting with them. So the crews are the same anywhere. Europe,
universally.
Yes. They're all gypsies, wonderful circus, traveling folk, like they all have the same energy and spirit in France, in Hungary, in London, in Toronto, in Vancouver, in Los Angeles, in Dallas, in New York. They're all just the most beautiful souls. I love them. Okay. So the sets though, and it's interesting because it depends, like if I'm doing something Canadian in Canada or if I'm doing something American in Canada, because I've shot a lot of American shows there too, like Covert Affairs and Heroes Reborn and The Expanse. So I feel like, weirdly, there are less egos on an American production than there are on a Canadian.
Oh.
So interesting.
Yeah, I really feel that way. I feel like there's just less. I mean, that's not across the board. Like I've totally, my first job, my guest star on Relic Hunter, where I met Carlo for the first time. I remember it was like, I think that was like my first union job. And I remember I was doing a scene with one of the series regulars. And when it came time to my coverage, he just left and I had to do it to a stand-in. So that's not universal. But I'd say in recent history, the American shows, like all the American actors are just like, I guess maybe because there's just more opportunity, they feel more secure, or there's just, I don't know, there's something that makes them just a little more grounded and therefore okay. And sometimes on some Canadian productions, it's like, there's a lot of hierarchy, a lot of like, I'm better than you, a lot of that stuff, which, you know, I have no tolerance for and no place for anymore. Like, I'm just at the age where I'm like, yeah, and I'm just gonna like now just amputate you out of the equation. Like, I can't actually put energy into this. I can't do it because I'm not gonna let it affect me. I'm not gonna let it affect my day.
Yeah.
You know, and be like, oh, you're going through something. And, you know, maybe this has nothing to do with me. Maybe I'm just seeing it this way, but I'm just gonna like cut it out, and I'm not gonna, and I'm gonna like actually make me do the best job I possibly can. It's gonna inspire me to like shine today. Like that's it.
Yeah.
So I found it. But you know, it depends on every show. Like Ransom, there were like, you know, we were an international cast, but there were like no egos on that show. Like we were such a group and a band of like just traveling wanderers, and we were all so happy to be at work every single day because we were traveling and we were together. And you know, when you travel, like you just get closer. Okay, General Hospital. These people have been doing the show longer than we have all been alive.
Forever.
Okay. And I understand that in the 90s there were like a lot of divas and egos, but now these people are amazing. They're so happy to be there. They run it's a one take medium, so you run lines like you're in the theater all beforehand. They want to make the scene the best scene ever. If you come and you come with goods, they're like, "Oh my god, can you please write her onto the show more?" In fact, how I got that job, I'll just tell you. My husband auditioned for that show when we were on the Love Club, Monica, in October. He auditioned for one part, never heard from them. And then in June of the following year, in 24, they were like, oh, they've written you a 5-episode arc on General Hospital. Carlo, that starts in August.
Oh.
Then in July, they're like, oh, they've increased it to 10. He doesn't even know what the part is, right? And then
and a year later,
he's like, no, they've increased it to 15. So Carlo starts in August. He gets on that show. Of course, he's like a prolific, amazing, unbelievable actor who never thought that daytime would be a medium, and he enjoyed it. And he would come back and he'd be like Pollyanna. He would be so happy. He'd be like, you know, this is so great. Everyone's so nice, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, Carlo, what are you, like, you're a jade fuck. What are you doing? Oh, how are you talking? You know? And he's like, no, I'm telling you, it's like, it's so great. And, you know, the hours are great. It's 15 minutes from the house, all this stuff. So I'm like, okay, great. I'm happy you're happy. You know, I just thought always happy playing like a role for a long time, and the hours are amazing and all that stuff.
Right. I mean, what a gift, right? The security and the beautiful hours. It's like,
yeah.
Who can get mad at that?
Yeah, exactly. And so my mom comes to visit from Toronto. She's a huge fan of the show. Okay. So Carla's like, oh, let me organize a set visit for your mom. So I was like, okay, great. And I'm like,
my God.
So I show up on set with my mom. We go meet the casting director who's been casting the show since before I was born. We meet the showrunner. We meet everyone. We meet some of the actors. And the showrunner, Frank, is like, hi. I was like, hi. And he's like, what do you do? I'm like, I'm an actor. And he's like, do you want to come be on our show? And I was like, sure. Not thinking anything of it.
Yeah.
So then my mom and I come home. Carlo has to weirdly do an evening shoot with them, which they never do. And then he came home. I think I was already in bed when he came home. And then the next morning I'm on the elliptical and he's like, I think they're writing you into the show. And I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. He's like, no. Think they're like, Frank told me the part you're going to play. And I think they're writing you into the show. And I was like, oh, well, I don't know if I want to do it. And he was like, well, think about it, you know? And so then a week later, my agent's like, they're writing you on to General Hospital. Did you know about this? And I was like, oh, I kind of got a heads up. And they were like, well, it's just a 3-episode arc. And I was like, okay. They're like, you're going to be a trial lawyer. I was like, okay, sure. Like, if I'm not busy, I'll do it. Then before I start, they're like, actually, it's 4 episodes. And I was like, okay, fine. And it's like this big, first day of shooting, 71 pages.
Yes. Okay. So this is what I wanted to ask you, because soap opera is like a boot camp.
Yeah. 100 to 150 pages a day.
Oh my God. So tell me, how was this experience? Oh my God.
Okay. So I get the script on Wednesday. Carlo's like, you have 71. It was 2 episodes, mind you, but he was like 71. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, oh my God. And then since then, the casting director has told me, he says he thinks that's the most they've ever given an actor on the first day in like the history since he's been doing it. So like a good actor, I get my size on Wednesday. And what do I do Wednesday night? I throw my back out. I just threw my back out, putting on my pajamas.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And I work and I worked Tuesday. So I literally sat in our hot tub for like all of like Thursday and Friday with the script, just going over it and over it and over it. And I'm like, okay, this is a play. This is what I have to treat this as. This is a one act. Yeah. This is a one act play with no intermission. And so I worked it and I worked it and I worked it. And, you know, and also Carlo prepared me of like their way of shooting. It's very different. You show up at either early in the morning, 10:30, lunch, or 3:30. Those are the times they block in the day. You show up, you block. So you have your script in your hand, you write down your blocking on the side. Yeah, exactly. Then you go get ready. Then you do your scene where you rehearse it once with camera for blocking, and then you shoot it. And that's it. Unless you grossly mess up, they make you still shoot. And if you do mess up, they just make you pick up from where you messed up. You don't even get a full run at the scene.
Okay.
And then they move on. You rehearse again, you rehearse the next thing, you shoot it, and you move on. That's how they can shoot so quickly, right? So there are no marks.
Yeah.
There are no mics. I felt like I was back to stuff. I'm like, you know what? I've done this, and I'm going to treat it like a play.
Yeah.
And I was like, but really, 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 like I probably prepared more for that than I prepared for anything in a really long time. Because at least at Stratford, you had 6 weeks of rehearsal. You know what I mean? Before you stay.
Yeah.
Like this was like, you have 6 minutes, you know? And so I really, really, really rehearsed.
And you also have to be mindful of where the camera is and
so they have
the boom mic and everything, right?
Like you have to clear it sometimes because they'll go to some. There's no marks. There's no marks and there's no mics. You like do it like you're on stage.
Oh, this
there's
is
no
fun.
And there's no.
Get me on that show.
They're laughing you. They're booming you the whole time, right? So so now I've done like a few episodes and I feel like I'm kind of like now Carlo's like, he'll go to set, he'll be like 70% off book and he's like, you know, 100% off book by the time they get there. Like he's figured it out. He's learned how to work that muscle. And all of the other actors are obviously like that. I'm not as far as ahead as he is for sure. But, you know, it's one of those, like we practice with each other, our auditions and everything like, but with those, like we practice the shit out of them. We're like, no. We need to be able to go on and like, if they could shoot the rehearsal, we have to be ready for them to shoot the rehearsal because they will, right? Like,
question. Were there changes on the day? Like, were the script changes on the day?
Okay, first, and you have to be word perfect. No, you have to be word perfect. They're like so precious about their words. They'll make it like, it's was, not is. Yeah. It's like that.
Okay.
It's like that, or like that's not a great example. But
I'm learning so much.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's been like a crash course. So, anyways, so I do it. I do this 4 episodes. I actually had a lot of fun. The cast was so amazing. Like after I did like my opening argument, they like clapped for me. Like they were so nice. I was like, are they making fun of me? What's going on?
That's awesome.
But they are the most supportive, loving, like they're like a family. They're in this together every single day. You know, they love having new people on. They love people who want to bring it. They love people who want to do a good job. They love people who want to elevate their show. And then I worked like up into November for them. And then in January, they've had me back. I do like anywhere between like 2 to 5 episodes a month now. It's like a great, and like it's one of those jobs where I had to do 0 to get it, but I do have to put a lot of work into it. But it's like a gift. It's just the gift that keeps on giving, right? And with kids, it's 15 minutes down the road. I mean, we can sometimes come, if we're both working together, we can like come back, pick up the kids, bring them home, and then like go back to work, which is
that's fantastic. That's like such a gem. So Nazneen, I imagine you're at the point in your career where you're mostly probably offer only is my guess, but do you audition? Like, are you sending in self-tapes? Is that a rarity?
Like a bitch. I audition all the time. I do. I audition a lot. And I want I do. I audition. My husband and I both audition. Like, I'm going to do a self-tape after this. Like right now it's kind of slow. So maybe we're only doing 1 or 2 a week each. But there are times where we're like, we have to bang out like 3 self-tapes in 2 days. And it's both of us now, right? Like we have to make room for each other's work all the time and help each other through them. So I audition a lot. I'm very lucky. I do get offered a lot of stuff as well. And thank God, because I wouldn't work. But I do audition. I audition a lot. I mean, as of
What is your approach to self-taping?
Okay. I mean, I feel like I still haven't really figured it out. Like, because I'm just not like, as soon as I do a Zoom, I book. But like on the self-tape, I don't know. I just feel like I'm not like Carlo's great at self-tapes because I don't know, it's like just such a different category, or like what you see is what you get kind of thing. I need direction, which is very hard on General Hospital. They don't give you any direction. That's the other thing. They don't give you, and you can ask a question,
Oh, yeah.
but they don't give you any, they don't have time. Their direction is you
Yeah,
cross on this line, you sit on this line, you stand on this line. That's their direction is just blocking, right? There's no,
You know, in some ways, maybe in some ways there's freedom in that, right? Like you can't overthink it. You have to just show up and deliver. Yeah.
You can ask the other actors questions. Sometimes they don't know. So you can ask like, who's this person I'm talking? You know, this like soap opera world. There's so many people, right? So you can make some kind
coming
of
in and out. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So you can make kind of decisions, but in a way, it's actually kind of helped the self-tape process because I'm like, okay, let's just make. So what I do, I try to first just like become off book because I'm not one of those people who can like work with a paper in my hand. I need to like say them over and over again and get them into my body. Maybe that's because I used to be a dancer. I need to say them when I'm walking. I need to say them when I'm doing the dishes. And then I'm like, oh, that's what that line means. Or, oh, this. Then I always try to read the script before as well, just to like help me. That helps me. Also, General Hospital, you never get a script. You just get your sides for the day, and that's it. Because who can read the script?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, right? So you have no idea what's going on.
I mean, you have 71 pages of just you. That's a lot.
That's not. You don't need anything else. And by the way, now when I get pages, I'm like, oh, it's a 23-page day. It's fine. I can like start learning it 2 days before. But so I try to, and then, you know, I try to make a lot of choices, but really the work happens when I'm doing it with Carlo. So like we will tape and then he'll watch it and then he'll like give me some notes and we'll do it again. And then I'll watch it to make sure I like it. And then I often have to do it a few more times than he does. Just because like, you know, I don't like a hair out of place or this or that or whatever. And then, you know, we kind of send it and then my manager watches it. Sometimes he'll give me notes and have me retape. But that's kind of it. Like I have a setup. I'll show you like, cause I'm going to do it. Like that's our setup for, the studio, but we also have a setup in the main house.
Simple.
It's very simple, very simple. Lights and a tripod and that's it. I mean, should it be more? I don't know. I don't know what other people are doing.
I do have a question. Yeah. You obviously have, you know, you've got offers coming in, you've got auditions, you've got, you know, this long-standing General Hospital gig.
Well, I mean,
keeps coming
as long-standing as it is, it could kill me tomorrow, right? Like,
well, I don't know. It's long-standing.
I don't take it for granted. But I don't take it. Like every time I go on the set, this is my last day, so I'm gonna do it with a great job.
Do you find that, and of course you have children.
Yeah.
Do you find that do you pick and choose? Like, what's your vetting process? Or are you just like, you know what? I just audition for everything.
If I'm a regular on something and we have like a lot of money coming in, I'll pick and choose. But like right now, neither of us are on contract. And like, no, we're just going to take work. Like, you know, during the Love Club, there was a strike going on. And my husband wasn't working at all because of the SAG strikes, which is why I took Love Club. And directly after Love Club, after being away from August to October from my family, I got offered a Hallmark movie in Europe. And like, I had no clue what to think. I'm like, I don't know when we're going to work. I don't know. And my husband was like, of course, we're so upset that we're not going to be together after months of having this fractured time. But, you know, I had to take it. There was no question about it because it was like they pay incredibly well. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to take it. I'm going to take it. And like, there's, you know, so, I mean, if it's something like very low paying, that's like, okay, maybe, okay, no, that's not really worth, it's like, we have to weigh it out, right? Like if it's something like, it has to be worth paying for the childcare and this and that. And like all the, you know, we make those calculations when we're taking a job at the end of the day. Right. But it depends. There are times where we can be really choosy if like one of us or both of us are doing like on contract. And there are times where we can't be choosy. And like right now we're not choosy. We're just taking it as it comes. No, but I'm being honest. I like we do freelance actors who are living some kind of ersatz middle class lifestyle in Los Angeles and put our kids in lessons and this and that. And like, we have bills to pay, right?
Right.
So there are times where like, we're fine for the year. There are times where we think month to month. There's like, that's just the reality of our situation. Right. And that's kind of like stressful, but also adventurous and fun. And it's really great for our kids to understand that like, okay, this year we're not going to take a bunch of holidays, or this year we're not going to do this, and like, you know, or this year we're going to do everything and not save any money. You know?
Right.
Yeah. But like,
and then segue into your children, right? I know that your son is an actor.
Yes.
Does your daughter also?
No. So with Darius and Children Ruin Everything, I mean, it was COVID, and Kurt actually wanted both of my kids to be on the show because he needed half Indian, half white kids. And my daughter had just turned 3, and I was like, I don't want any of my kids on the show. And then Carla was like, oh, well, maybe Darius, he was 8 at the time. He's like, he'll be with you. Like, it'll be, I have like feelings about children being in the industry. And I just think that it's such a hard industry. And, if Darius, who is a wonderful actor and, totally pursues it outside of school, like in theater groups and classes and things like that. Like if he's 16 and he wants to do it, like then he can do it. When he's like legally old enough to have a job, he can do it. But I just feel like just because the industry demands children to be in it doesn't mean children should do it. I really do feel that way. I started when I was 16 and I still think that was kind of young. And because it warps your perception, like people are doing things for you, you're making lots of money. Like it's not normal, right? It's not normal. Yeah, so Darius did Children Ruin Everything with me because he was with me. And even my agent, Jen Goldhar, who negotiated his deal for all 4 seasons, she was like, look, like when Darius is like seriously wants to pursue acting, we can have a conversation. But like right now, this is just like something for you guys to have. And like she was super understanding about it, and Darius is understanding about it.
Was there an added pressure though, Nazneen? Like the responsibility of having to also, like, here you are coming to do a job that you're going to be doing as a series regular. You have your own responsibilities, but then you have the added responsibility of your child being there and having to kind of, I guess,
it was very
watch over him. How was that?
It was
dynamic.
Candidly, it was the best. And sometimes, like, it got better. But, Darius came in not knowing anything about acting on a set. He didn't know what clear the set means. He didn't know what hit your mark meant. He didn't know what a microphone having on you. Like, he knew nothing, right? So he didn't know what a cue line is. Like, he was 8 years old, right? So, the first season, like, luckily we only did 8 episodes. I think it was in all 8 the first season. But, like, I was freaking out. Because I wanted to protect him, but I also wanted to make sure that he understood what was going on. And like, so, we'd be like, right before a scene, I'd be like, okay, Tris, do you know what your cue line is? What is your cue line? Say it. Okay, great. And do you know what your mark is? Okay, so you can't look down at it. So count how many steps you have to count to your mark and then walk back and remember how many steps it is without looking down. And like all this, and then I'm like, I'm like, oh fuck, I have to speak. Like, I don't even remember what I have to do. Right. So
I have to count my own steps to my mark.
Right. What's my cue line? Where's my mark? What color am I in?
Right. What's my cue line?
Yeah.
But then your son like crushes it. And you're like,
you can tip from your son. You can learn a thing or two.
Try that again.
Right. So that was very challenging. And also just like teaching him the decor on set. Like, he's a kid, right? So I'm like, you can't talk when other people are talking and like all this kind of stuff. Like and I'm like, and also I'm like, look, you're representing both of us when you're on the show. So like, I need you. He's a very well-behaved child. He's just a little chatty, but, and everyone loved him and he did such a great job. And like, but he had his own trailer, but he would always be in my room. So like lunchtime would come, I would have to pack him a lunch because he didn't like the food on set. And he would like eat his lunch in my room on my chair. And then he'd like watch something and I'm like, I just need you to like put your headphones on for the last 10 minutes of lunch. We can have just like a tiny, tiny bit of, of quiet time. And then, we can like go forward. But it was a lot. It was amazing because we're always going to have it. And now that it's over, looking back on it, like he cherishes it so much. And of course I cherish it so much too. But at the time, it felt like, and, also like helping him with his lines, like, helping him make choices, if he was getting direction and they didn't understand, like they weren't getting through to him, like I would just automatically step in. I'm his mom. And I'd be like,
yeah,
right. Which you would do if you were the guardian, right? Yeah.
I don't know.
You have to speak his language, right? Like it would be.
I don't know. I didn't care at that point. I'm like, I'm not going to have my son leave feeling like he didn't do a good job. And I understand what they're trying to get out of him. So I'm going to help him. Right.
Yeah.
And, but by the end of it, like by the time season 4 came around, he was like, they put his character through such a transformation and he like just owned it. Like by the end of it, he was amazing. Like I'd say the last season, we had the most fun together because he understood everything by that point, technically about being on set. And everyone loved, like, I mean, the crew just adored him. And of course, the kids were so amazing on that show, Michaela and Logan, and they loved him too. And when he was there, they would all play together all the time, which was so cute. So I think he really grew into it. But, you know, it was kind of nice because he was like, oh, Mom, it's kind of boring. Oh, I don't like tutoring. I'm like, good. Don't do it. Do something else with your life. This is the reality of the job. Like, if you don't like it that much, don't do it. Because on top of that, this is when you have the job. Until you're getting the job, it's a lot of rejection and a lot of heartache. Like, if you want to do something else, do something else. Right? So that's
the part that I'm always, that's the part I'm always worried about. Like, even when my kids show interest in like potentially performing, is like the idea of the rejection piece. It's like, it's not good for your like, self-esteem. And I'm always worried about that. So I totally get that perspective.
My son, you know, I don't think, I think there's an interest for sure, but I don't really trust him with like lines yet, right? Like that, but
How old is he?
We'll submit for stills and stuff. He's now 9. So his very first thing that he submitted for, he got a standby. So he got paid the money and didn't have to do the job.
Wow.
And so then he had a little taste. So now he's like interested. And then the last time I was like, do you want to audition with me? And he normally doesn't ask about money or anything. He just likes to do it. But then he was like, sure. But he's like, I never get these things. And I was like, oh, I'm to be fair, you've only done like 10. I was like, look at how many Mummy has done. I have done so many hundreds. But he's still, you know, he's just like, whatever, we're just trying. We're having fun.
And, you know, that was kind of stressful with children because we did a self-tape. He did a self-tape with us. And like, we had to teach him to like not look in the camera. And like, so we put him on tape. And then he had to test on Zoom for that role with like Belle, CTV, and like with Kurt and one of the producers who was only there for season 1, and they made him do all of this improv. And like, he was like, and he came home from school that day, and that's when his audition was. And like, we were around the corner sitting on the floor listening to him like do this stuff, and we were like, and then, you know, we he did really well. I mean, he had never done anything like that before in his life, right? And then it took like months until, and also I auditioned really early, and like I was the first choice, but they hadn't officially made the offer on me yet. And then they were like, yeah, they still want to see other people. So I auditioned, and within a week I had a call back with Kurt, and then I never heard anything. Then like maybe 3 weeks later or a month later, Darius, we put Darius on tape. He had a call back like pretty soon after as well. And I didn't realize his call back was with like everybody. Like, I wasn't prepared for that either. And he did really well. And then we didn't hear for a long time. And then I got the job first. And I was like, oh, Darius. And he didn't have his Canadian passport yet. He was born here. And I was like lying to him, like, oh, Darius, you know, it's just because like we haven't had your passport yet. That's probably why they can't give it to you. You have to be Canadian, you know, preparing him that it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Carl was like, well, you can't take the job. You can't take the job if he doesn't get it. I'm like, what are you talking about? And he was like, you can't. It'll be so awkward for him to see another person playing as your son. I'm like, I'm an actor. I'm like, I'm not going to not do this. Because he was so
there's going to be serious regular role. Like, what are we talking about here?
On a straight series, like not even a pilot, right? And he was like, but he was so, but it came from a place of being so protective for his son, right? For our son. Right?
Yeah,
he was like,
support. Yeah.
And then I was on the set of another movie when my agent called me, and they were like, they're going to offer Darius the part. And I was like, thank God.
Thank God.
We won't emotionally scar him the rest of his life
Yeah.
until later. I like literally got down on my knees and like, and I was on location. I was away from them. So I called Carlo right away, and I was like, let's tell him together on like FaceTime or whatever.
Yes.
And he was so happy. He was so happy because that was also his first time doing it, right? Like,
right. Yeah. That's his first time, and he booked it, and it was series. It was four seasons.
It's incredible. Hey, we know that feeling of when you book that part, what that feels like. So that's so awesome. We got to experience that. Okay, so we are reaching our hour. I can't believe how fast the time's gone by. It's been so interesting. I love it. Okay, so a couple more questions. You know, I'm curious if you have any inspirational words for artists out there who might be struggling, or any advice that you've ever received from a mentor that's stuck with you that you could share for your fellow artists out there. And I'm kind of putting you on the spot with that one.
No, I actually have one that's like, I have two. So the first one is, you know, there's no question that luck plays a factor in this industry, right? But luck favors the prepared. So prepare.
Mm-hmm.
You have to prepare. Do the work. Do whatever it takes. Like, I still coach with people. My husband's not always like available or has the patience or time to run stuff with me. I will find coaches. I will run stuff with them. I will work with them. I do. I've been doing this for so long, but I don't think that I'm can do this in my sleep. I don't think that I'm better than anyone else. I think that, in fact, I have to constantly be getting better because it's only more competitive out there. I have to constantly be offering something else. So work at your craft and know that if you keep working it, like, luck will come to you, because I've been very lucky. I know that. But I've been prepared in those moments. And whatever that is, whether it's like the work or like my demeanor or my presence, I think that that's very important. And then the other thing is, I remember it was my second pilot season here, when we used to do a pilot season. And I was honestly, I think I was auditioning like 9 to 12 times a week. And you were driving to these auditions, and I was just like so tired. And I called my manager, and he was like, okay, I have another appointment for you tomorrow. And like, I think he could just hear my heart sink because I was just so exhausted. I had already had Darius. I was a new mom. And he was like, you're tired, aren't you? And I said, yes. And he goes, just know that if you're tired, someone with less talent will book this job because they're not tired. And I was like, okay.
Wow.
Here's what he said. He was like, you want to lose it to someone who you know you're better than because they're not tired? And I was like, you know what? And it's stamina. You said it, Monica. It's stamina.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. And I was like, well, as soon as he put that thought in my mind, I'm like, fuck that shit. Like, the little like dancer came out of me. I'm like, no, I'll get it together.
Yeah.
I'll do it. This is just a period of time anyways. I have the help. I have like everything I need around me to succeed. I'm going to go in and I'm going to do it. And one of them is going to, because it just, especially in husbands, like, just one, you just need one, right? Like, you just need one. And you're also planting the seeds for future. Even if you don't get them, you come in there, you do a great job.
Yeah.
The British students love you. And that's the other thing about the big difference. Now, I love Canada, like, so much. I'm not trying, and not everyone is like this in Canada, but in the US, the casting directors, like, they're very, very, it is in their best interest for you to do the best possible job you can, because they are interested in actually finding a solution to this casting problem. Like, they have a problem. They need to find someone for this role. Right. They want you to do the best job you can. When I do my Zooms here, every single Zoom, I do each scene at least 3 times on their behest, because they want to see a different side, because they're like, oh, can you just do it again and do a little bit more? Because they want to present the best version of Nazneen to them, because it makes them look good, and that's their job, right? So when you're getting that kind of effort from them, you want to rise to that occasion. Like, you want to rise to that expectation. You want to be, if you're not the answer to this problem that they have of this role, you're going to be the one for the next one, because they're going to be like, oh, call her in. She always does a good job, right? Someone's going to find something for her. So I think that, like, be prepared and have stamina. And honestly, the other thing is, like, and it's so hard, but like, try not to take it personally. It's so hard, but it has nothing to do with you. And that's the other thing I see in these Zooms. And when I get feedback, like, the feedback is so good. I'm like, well, why didn't I book it? And it's like, because there's someone else more right for it. And that's as simple as that, right? That's as simple as that. And you have to, like, just trust that there'll be something that you're right for. And sometimes it's, you get the job that you need, not the job that you want.
Right. I have a question.
Yeah.
Over the span of your career, you have been working for such a long time. Did you find that the roles you were booking kind of corresponded with the phase of life you were in? For instance, like, did you notice you were starting to book, like, bride stuff when you were, I don't know, maybe considering getting married, or when motherhood, like, all of that? Did you start booking more mother roles once you became a mother? Or, did you see any of that correspondence?
Well, the mother, not so much. Like, in my 20s, I just kind of played, like, a lot of cops, or, like, young, like, virginal daughters who did bad things. Like, that was kind of most of my 20s.
I love that hit.
Which sort of, like, when you were saying about how you were a teenager and you just did whatever you want, whatever you wanted, right? Like,
so that kind of fed into it, sure. But the first time I played a mother was on Star Trek Into Darkness, and I got that role when I was 9 months pregnant with Darius. So that was amazing. That the first time I played a mother, I was actually a mother. And then I didn't play a mother again until, like, Ransom. Now I feel like yeah, I feel like sometimes I play mother, sometimes I don't. I feel like now I kind of play like, I guess maybe, I don't know, like after Children Ruin Everything, like Dawn was like the first time I kind of played this like perfect kind of, she's like, I don't want to call her a bitch because I don't think she's a bitch, but she was like the kind of like
No.
the hot mean girl, but a nice mom version of her. Like I never really played those games when I was younger, but I feel like I get a lot of those kind of parts now, which is kind of interesting because I don't really always see myself like that. And I don't really play those parts, like except on Children Ruin Everything. And then since then, like I've been getting a lot of auditions for this. I'm like, interesting.
Well, you did a great job. You did such a great job.
But on
But I feel like that's
Hospital,
the industry.
yeah, totally, probably, right? And also like I think that and like on Darn General Hospital, I play like the assistant district attorney who's like here to clean up crime, and she's like a no nonsense, very tough, humorless antagonist, essentially, right? But yeah, it's so. I think other than the motherhood thing, but then I didn't play mom for a while after that. But I love it when I get to play moms. I love it. I do.
Yeah.
I love kids. I love my own kids the most, obviously. But yeah, I think that anything you give a character that gives them more dimension, and motherhood, as you both know, and most people listening to this, or some people, like, it gives you the most complex field of emotions. Like you literally, like, the only people who can make me go from 0 to 10 are like my kids. Maybe my mom, but like that's it.
Yeah.
Like in an instant.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. I was gonna say maybe my husband. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, like my husband, yes, but I feel like, I've learned to like been married for so long, like learn to like try to curtail that judgment.
You've known him longer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. How old are both your kids though before we sign off?
So my oldest is 14 and then my youngest is 12.
Oh,
Yeah.
and
so they're like both girls. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have 2 boys. The younger one is 9 and the older one's 11.
Wow. So my son is 13.
Yeah.
He'll be 14 at the end of the year. And my daughter is 7 and she'll be 8 at the end of the year. They're born a day apart, 6 years and a day apart. But my daughter is like,
oh wow,
such an actress and like such a ham, and really has like she does tap and she does drums, and she really has this uncanny ability to like perform. And she's already told me like, I want to be an actress, and like, I'm going to be on TV like you. And she sees us on TV and she's like, once, like, she's not that impressed by it. Her eyes used to be really impressed by it. And like, I can do that, but listen to this. So I like never wear makeup in my life, and I came home one day from General Hospital and I didn't have time to wash off my makeup. I don't know why I was rushing. I don't know. Carlo had to go somewhere, so I just rushed home. And Carlo and Doris were like, "Whoa, you have a lot of makeup on." And Avalucci was like, "You look like a clown."
Well, sister, if you want to be in this business, you better get used to it.
You look like
Kids are such truth tellers, man. It's like, okay, thank you. Thanks.
Well, look, definitely. He's like, "You look like a clown. You do." And then Doris is like, "Look, Mom, look." And he like licks his finger and goes down my face to draw the makeup. And I'm like, I'm gonna go wash my face.
Okay. I have one more thing that I'm just so curious. There's so many questions. You're so fascinating to me. You play a lot of like romantic leads, and I know Carl is an actor, so and he plays romantic scenes, and I see that he gets it. Do your children ever see you? I mean, obviously, maybe being married to another person, but like, do you ever kiss? Like, have they ever seen you on TV, like being physically, I guess, intimate?
Yeah, no, I
yeah,
totally do. So it's
the sex scenes, but
I like how you're dancing around it, Ginny. You're like, do you ever?
No, but I mean, obviously they're not watching you like making out and doing whatever with kids,
Sure.
but sometimes like an arm around or like little things like that.
Yeah.
Do your children flinch at it, or are they just like?
So we generally don't show them the stuff that we're in. Like, maybe like when my mom is here, she'll watch General Hospital. And so like they maybe will see that, but like they're not really watching it. We generally don't show them it because they don't really have a lot of interest in seeing their parents on TV, and that's fine. They don't need to see us on TV. But Darius, my son, because he'll run lines with me a lot. And like if there's a scene where like in the scene, like, you have to like kiss someone or something like that. Or I remember there was like, he was running rides with me and I was like playing a lesbian and he got so upset. He's like, so if you book this role, you're going to do that? You're going to do that? And I was like, well, I don't think I'm going to book it, first of all. And secondly, like, well, yeah, that's just the thing. It's like, so Papa means nothing to you? He means, I don't like, no, it's not like that. It's like he's very, he's not
Acting.
He's Italian. He's half Italian. He's at the age where it's not, he doesn't understand that it's just professionalism. And it's a very difficult thing for a lot of people to understand, let alone, I'm his mother.
Sure.
So like,
Yeah.
I just kind of like, but interesting on Children Ruin Everything, he played my son and Dmitry Chepovetsky played my husband and I was kissing him all the time, but he knows Dmitry and Dmitry is gay. So he felt he felt very comfortable with that because he knew that we had to play this very loving couple and he knew that like Dmitry had no interest. I was like, and I explained it to him too. I'm like, Dmitry's gay, which means like he has no interest in anything that's going on my body right now. It is more of a performance for him than it is for me, and so then he felt okay with it. He didn't love it, but he felt okay with it. Right. So he doesn't like it. And I understand. And so I just kind of like omit that part. Or if I have a scene where I have to do something like that, I won't have him run the lines with me. I learned that lesson because he got really upset. Avdafia is like, she's like, what are you like? You're going to kiss another clown? Like she doesn't even like, it doesn't even register her. She's more interested in kissing people in her own life.
Right.
Yeah. All right, Nazneen, the last question that we ask every guest on our show.
Okay.
When you hear the phrase hitting her mark, what does that mean for you? How do you define success in your life? It could be personally or professionally or both.
So first of all, that's a great question. And I love the title of your podcast because it means so many things. Of course, literally hitting your mark is landing on the X or the line that is put on set. But what does success mean to me? I think that it's changed over the years. It has. So right now, success to me is being able to work as an actor and support my family. That's really what it is, being able to do that and that be our only thing that we do. I mean, it's kind of a miracle. It really is. Everyone else we know has like help or has a job or has rich parents. We don't have any of that. So I feel like that in itself, our pursuit and the fact that we're doing it is enough. It's more success than I could ask for, really. Everything on top of that is like gravy. It's just wonderful thing. You know what else success means? Success means is like having the job and finding that balance with my family. That's also success. Me being able to like go and do a full day on work and come home and help my kids with their homework and make dinner and clean up and put them to bed. I feel like a rock star. I do. I feel like, oh my God, I'm actually doing it all. I don't have to do it all, not every, but I like to do it all and I'm actually doing it all. That is real success. It is like being able to be there, marrying those two, finding that balance. And it doesn't always happen, right? It doesn't happen every night. It doesn't happen every day. So when it does happen, I feel very, very, very blessed.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great answer.
Yeah.
Well, Nazneen, thank you so much for being here with us
Oh my
today.
God, this is the best. Can we do it again?
Yes.
Can you come to LA and we can just hang out?
Absolutely. There's so much more.
I know there's so much to talk about that neither of us probably covered. So yeah, you're always welcome back. Had so much fun chatting with you. Thank you again.
Oh,
Yeah, thank you so much. You've
congratulations.
been
Thank you,
so
guys.
authentic too. Like just lovely.
It's my pleasure. You guys made it so easy.
So that was a really insightful conversation with Nazneen. I love the conversation with her because she's done so much.
Yeah.
She's gone from theater to TV and film in Canada, but then also in the US. And then she came back to Canada. And then like even just the soap world is so different. Like it's almost like she's done everything.
Yeah. It's like she's played in every medium. It's really incredible. I'm so amazed even by, for her early beginnings of starting at the Etobicoke School of the Arts. Like she just seems to have such a strong sense of self to even know in grade 10, I think it was, she said that she was already, trying to switch to from dance, switch her majors from dance to drama, and was already auditioning. She started hustling even like at such a young age, and She has such a strong work ethic. So it's really incredible, the span of her career. I mean, it's just having so many responsibilities so early on in her career, like series regulars,
Absolutely.
guest stars, recurrings when she was, young, a minor on set.
Right. And at the same time, she was still getting straight A's.
Yeah.
Right. And I think her respect for that, because I was also a drama major.
Yeah.
And I will say, drama class, yes, every day. And we were giving each other massages, like in the dark while we were watching some movie. Right? Like that's what we did. And I'm sure I'm sure there was a really good point to all of it. Some really great actors like really took to it, people in our class. I stumbled upon somebody from Kothra who was sort of like a star at that time. Like he always got the lead roles in all of the productions and everybody expected him to be a successful actor. And he is now doing stuff on TV film and stuff. But we called them the Drammies. And, I just know that I didn't respect it the way that she did. And I look back and I wish that I had, because it was such a huge opportunity. And you did get a chance to learn a lot if you actually paid attention.
Yeah, and it sounds like
Maybe that's why she's worked so much. And here I am.
Jenny, if you could go back in time, you would pay so much attention.
So much attention. Well, I mean, when I went back to school, like after I graduated, because I also did not get great grades in university, but when I went back for post-grad as an adult, I was, I won an award for hosting most promising host. Look at me, won an award. And I got great grades and all that stuff. It really is a certain level of maturity that I didn't have, but clearly she did at such a young age. And that's so commendable.
Yes, and I think it's also she was studying really advanced materials in high school even, right? And then I think Stratford is such a strong foundation as well, to have that experience so young, to have the responsibility to be a lead in a Shakespeare show at Stratford right out the gates. I mean, you can only grow from that, right? And she's had some really interesting experience. One thing we didn't even touch on, which I was so curious about, she's worked in single cam, she's worked in multicam in front of an audience. Can you imagine what that would teach you as well? But then now moving into this soap opera where they're filming 71 pages, she treats it like theater, right? She refers to it as a play, because you only get one shot, just like you would on stage. So she's been primed for all of these experiences, and she's able to step up.
Rise to the occasion. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. There are so many things that we wanted to talk about and we didn't get a chance to in that short hour with Nazneen. But thank you so much, audience, for joining us. And again, if you are so inspired to start your own podcast, do not forget about riverside.fm/hittinghermark to get a 15% discount. All right. Thank you so much for joining us.
Bye, everyone.